Now that many of us have been using Seesaw for a while, I wanted to start some trainings, but make it a little more advanced than just the overview of how to use it. We're kind of past that. So, the first training I'm going to do is creating your own activities. We are limited in our paper and ink supplies, so there may be some things that you already have pre made that you want to create and make it digital for your students. And this hopefully will be an easy training to show you how. Let's start by logging into our Seesaw classroom. You'll see this is my example class. Now, if I want to add an activity that I created, I'm going to click on that plus sign at the top that says add, and then I'm going to choose assign activity. You'll see it right here. When I do that, it brings up the library, which is probably where most people have gone and pulled up pre-made resources, which is awesome because Seesaw has a ton of those. But you'll notice at the top left, there is a box that says create new activity. That's where you're going to click. From there, you'll have this box pop up where you're going to give it a name, you're going to write some instructions, you're going to put a template, and then teacher notes. Remember, there are icon shortcuts that I'm going to share with you that when you use them, it actually brings up the images of the directions in the Seesaw app for students. So, for example, if you use the shortcut and say use the pencil too, but you can actually put a picture of the pencil. So it helps the students know exactly which tool you're talking about. And I'll share those in just a moment. Right now, I want to talk about the template. So you'll see down below where it says add a template for student responses. We're going to start super simple, and I'm just going to show you the different types of things you can add. So here we are. When you click on that, you'll have this screen pop up. You can add a photo, which is literally your camera will pop up and you can take a photo of yourself, a photo of something else that you have. I've done this where I take a picture of me and I let the kids draw mustaches on me and give me hats and make me look like the man in the yellow hat from Curious George. And they love it. The next thing you can do is drawing. And basically, all that is it brings up a blank canvas with the Seesaw tools. So, if you're familiar with using all the tools that Seesaw has to offer, you can click that and it'll bring up that blank canvas that the kids see with the writing utensils on the bottom, all the tools on the left, all that good stuff. The next is a video. Again, like the photo, your camera will be able for you to take a video of yourself talking or anything like that. Underneath that is the link. You can add a link from an external website. Just be aware that although it'll show a preview of the link, you will be able to, the kids will be able to click on it and it will take them to that external website. But it does give you a picture of the website and you can annotate over it when you share it. So at least that way you can put on their directions for them if they need to go to an external website on what to do when they get there. The note literally comes up like a little piece of lined paper, and you can write your note to students. You can add audio over that as well. So if you have students who are not readers yet, you can read it to them. Do want to make you aware of is that the font in the note is not a font that uses like the circular A with the line. So some of the letters might be unfamiliar to them. Finally is the upload, and that's the big one. So I actually made this on a new slide. So when you get to the upload, you can see you can do a file, a photo, a video. These are things you've already taken and inserted in your Google Drive. Now, before I get too crazy on how to make those from scratch, let's talk about things you already have. You can add up to 10 images. Remember, Seesaw could be like a slideshow or a presentation where you add different pages. You can add one PDF, that's the Adobe, right? You can add one video. So if you have a video you've already taken, you want to add in there, or one audio clip. You can start with those things. Next, at the bottom, you'll see select from your computer or select from Google Drive. If you're doing this at school, it doesn't make a difference because your Google Drive is your computer, right? Our computers don't have a hard drive per se. All of our files are stored in Google Drive. So you can select either. Google Drive might be easier just because you'll like be familiar with the setup of it. If you select from your computer, it's going to look like the File Explorer from the old school computers. And maybe you're used to that, and that's great. If you're doing it from home, it may be a difference of where your things are stored. So if you're doing Google Drive, I just wanted to show this to everyone. It does make a difference in Google Drive. Some people have noticed and mentioned to me, and I'm gonna let's see, bring up the focus mouse. Some people have noticed that at the beginning of all of your files, you'll see that these icons change, correct? So when your icons change, that means those are different types of files. So if you're looking for specific things, for example, images are JPEGs or PNGs. A JPEG is going to look like this. It's the little red with kind of the mountains. A PNG is going to actually be a preview of whatever the image is. So you can see here it's a Bitmoji, it's Control Z. With PDF, you can see that it actually says PDF. That is the image. And actually, you'll see it over on my Google Drive. There is a PDF. Videos are meant to look like the little director cut thing. You could see it's a red square with the lines. And audio clips is a red square as well with the headphones. You'll notice they are all similar and that they are all red. So all of the files I can add here for the most part are going to have that red icon in Google Drive. When you look over on the left of my screen here, you can see there's a Word document, Excel, there's a Google slideshow, that's the yellow. The purple here is a Google form. But the only ones that I would be able to upload into my Seesaw document are the red ones. So the only ones I could do here are the PDFs. I wouldn't be able to do the others. All right. So now that I've kind of given you an overview of what you can do, I wanted to show you doing it exactly in Seesaw. So it's one thing to look at my slideshow, but it's another when you see me do it in Seesaw. So I'm going to click right here, and it's going to open up my Seesaw classroom. When I'm there, remember, I'm going to click on this plus to add and go to assign activity. When I go to assign activity, you'll see I have a bunch of stuff already made. I can search, do what all those things that I usually do. But for today, I'm going to hit create new activity. Up here, I'm going to title it. I'm going to give some instructions. I don't know what the activity is yet. I haven't planned that far ahead, but I am going to add a template. So when I go there, again, I can do a photo. It'll bring up a photo of me. Hi. I'm going to do that. I can do the drawing. And again, this looks just like it would if it was Seesaw, so I'm not going to do that. Video, same thing, brings up the picture of me. I can make a video to send to my students. Link, I'm going to type in the link for something. When I'm ready, I can hit this green plus. It takes a minute because what it does is it generates a preview of it. So now you can see my preview. You can see I have my writing tools down at the bottom and still these over here on the left. So if I wanted to, I could use my writer tool and say, hey, when you go there, you're going to go to the Wheel of Life. I'm going to circle it, right? But when I'm done, the kids will go to that website. They wouldn't just be here where they can annotate it. So just be aware of that. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that page. I can add the note. And you can see here about the A, when I was talking about the font, it's different than the A that students are taught to read. So you might want to be careful with that. I'll delete that. And finally, let's look at the upload. So here's my directions. I can drop a file. You can drag and drop. I'm going to select from Google Drive. When I do that, you can see my drive pops up. You can see the different files here that are available. So if I was going to create a file and I wanted to use a Google Doc, I'll just click here, hit select. It does work. And it added all of the pages. Oh, snap, look at that. I'm going to add it. I want to see what it looks like for my kids on the other side. I'm going to assign it to, I'm going to edit my students. I'm just going to assign it to the sample student, hit OK. assign to my class. Now I'm going to view the activity. So let's see. So now if I'm a student, add response as a sample student. Here I go. All right. I can scroll in. Excellent. So it looks like I can add Google Docs, which is awesome. That's new. But there's not, I can't like click on them or anything. So that's good to know. So when I add it, it's uploaded. There you go. So I guess I was wrong. You can add Google Docs. That's interesting to know though, because a lot of our stuff is in Google Docs already. But a lot of it is things that you already have that are like Active Inspire or maybe a Word document. They might not be able to be added. So let's try that. Let me see if I can try and add a Word document. I'm going to try and select from computer to see if I can find a Word document. All right, so professional learning. Nope. So unfortunately, it looks like you can't do Microsoft files, but it looks like Google files are acceptable. So there you go. Once I do that, I can add it to my activity and I can have the students write over it. I can have them write on it. I can add text to it, voice to it, all of that good stuff. There we go. There's my activity right there. So if you have something that is an image, a PDF, video, audio, or even a Google Doc or a Google presentation, you can import it and have the students write over it. If you're printing out things that are Google Docs, they're PDFs, something like that, that you're going to want the kids to write on, if it's something that's not assessing their actual handwriting or something like that, it might be a good idea to start kind of putting those over into Seesaw to use and save on paper. So changing file formats is not as terrible as you think. You might have some files, you might even have hard copies of a paper file that you want to put into Seesaw. I'm going to show you how to do it. So first off, let's talk about the different things you could have. You could have a Google slideshow. You could have a Google Doc. You could have Microsoft Word docs. You could have flip charts, or you could have a paper document. I'm going to show you how to take each one of these and create it into a PDF or an image so you can import it into Seesaw. There are a couple tech tips I do want to go over. First, you want to make sure you have a dedicated folder in your Google Drive already created. So when you're creating these new documents, you have the file, you're going to convert it. You can just drop that converted file right into the folder that you're going to be like finding it in, and it just makes it so much easier. Next, remember the Chromebook has the capture tool, so you can do the Control Shift Show Windows, and the desktop has Snip and Sketch, which does all of the screenshots as well. So you can make an image from anything that's on your screen and just save it into your Google Drive that way. That's usually what I do because it's just the fastest and easiest. So in Google Slides, you can create a PDF or an image. Now, if you create a PDF of your Google Slides, you do have the option of having one long document with all the slides on it. If you create an image, so a JPEG or a PNG, it's just going to be one slide at a time. So just be aware of that. So to do so, you're going to go to File, Download, and then choose what you want to do. When you choose, let's say you choose a JPEG or image, you're going to see that next box pop up right here, this box here. When that pops up, make sure that you choose the folder you want the file to live in. That'll make it easier to find it. Then you're going to hit save. Next would be Google Docs. Google Docs easily converts to PFDs or Adobe Acrobat files. To do so, you're just going to go to File, download, and you'll see all the different options. You can download a Google Doc into Microsoft Word if you wanted to. But for now, we're going to do a PDF document because that's what works with your Seesaw account. Make sure, again, you select a folder over here where you're going to be able to find it easily and then hit save. Next, let's say if you have Microsoft Word docs. I don't know if people know this, but you can change them to a PDF through Microsoft Word with desktop or through Cameo, or from Google Docs, from Google Drive, you can actually change it into a Google Doc as well. So let's start with Word. So in Word, you're going to open Word, you're going to click on File. You'll get that bar to the left here. It'll say Save as Adobe PDF. Again, you save it where you want and hit Save. If you want to save it as a Google Doc, the easiest way to do this, the easiest way is to open Google Drive, find the file in your Google Drive, and do not open it. Do not open the file. You'll see right here it has a W. That tells me it's a Word file. It also has the .doc. It's a Word document. That's the extension for Word documents. So you're going to right click on the file you want. The menu that pops down, you'll see open with, and then just choose Google Docs. If you're on your Chromebook, you're going to do a 2-fingered tap. Next, you can also use Active Inspire flip charts. Yes, I said that right. You can use Active Inspire flip charts. So many people, especially at the younger levels, use Active Inspire. So you may already have activities on there, and that's awesome. To use an Active Inspire flip chart, you can download it as an image or as a PDF. Just be aware that when you download the images, it downloads each page from the page browser on this side over here, this page browser. Each page will be its own image. It'll be its own file. If you do it as a PDF, it downloads the entire presentation to one PDF document, and each page from the flip chart, each flip chart page will be its own page in the PDF. So to do so, you're going to click on File, go to Export, All Pages to, and then you can choose here. If you're wondering, I have it right here. JPEG and bitmap BMP are images, and PDF is your long file. Now, this is the one that I know lots of people are like, well, I have these hard copies, and I'm just going to make more copies of them, but I could use them in Seesaw. So our printers that we have are actually pretty amazing, and they're also scanners. All you need to do is go to the printer, scan your badge, and then you'll see down here on the bottom, you can choose either the scan on the screen or click the number 2 button, fax scan. And from there, you'll get this page right here, right here. You want to click on the Me. And what that'll do is it'll email it directly to you. Now, I know a lot of people have done this before and just shows up as a PDF, and sometimes they're a little grainy, they're not in color. You can change that. So these tabs along the bottom here, these buttons, I'm going to show you what they do. They're very helpful. So the first tab along the bottom, it says one-sided. So if you have a one-sided document, that's great. But if it's two-sided and you want to make sure you get both sides of it to scan, you're going to open that up and click on two-sided. The next is the color. You'll see it usually says auto color, which that's great and it'll work just fine. But if you want it to be black and white, or if you want it to be grayscale, you may want to pick that. So go ahead and do that. And then you click on close. Next, and this is another cool thing I know a lot of people don't know, you can actually choose the type of file the output printer does. So by default, it's a PDF. See right here, PDF. But if you click up here and choose JPEG, it is going to give you an image file. So it wouldn't be a PDF. And you can decide how it's going to be. Down at the bottom here, this one is also a very popular option. It's called the file name, subject name, other. You can see it says on. So when you click on that, this box pops up right here. That box, you can choose what the file name is. So when I get a scan, it usually is just a bunch of letters and numbers. And then when I download it, I always forget what it's called. If you would prefer to have it scanned right to you with a specific name, you can type the name in here and change the subject. So that is also really helpful. Make sure you hit OK when you're done with that. Once you have all your settings correct, you can make your scans how you would usually copy. You can either put it on the top and just let it run through, or lift up the top, put it under and scan each page at a time. It's up to you. Once that part is done, you may have to press the start button at the bottom. If that start button is red, that means you probably forgot to hit this button here, the me. It doesn't have a recipient. You got to make sure you're sending it to yourself. And once that's done, it sends right to your email. Boom. When I get back to my email, I'll see that I received a message from the copier. Click on it, and you'll see here is the PDF. You can either add it to your drive from here, download it and save it in your drive, or from the icon right here, you can download it or add it to your drive. I just created this background in Google Drawings. You can see when I click on things, I could move them. So to make the background in Seesaw, I'm going to go to File, Download, and make it an image. I'm going to make sure I put it in my folder so I know where to find it. Biomes background and save. I know it's saved down here. If it downloaded right here and you don't know where it's saved to, you can always click on this arrow and click show in folder. And that will show you, like up here, exactly what folder it was in. It's in Seesaw, Seesaw video, it's right there. Hello friends. So now I want to show you the next step, which is to bring together creating your own background and then creating an actual movable activity. So what I'm going to do is, just like the steps I had before, I'm going to click on add and assign activity. From here, I'm going to click on my create new activity. And this is going to be a drag and drop animal biomes activity. So I'll come back to the instructions in a minute. But basically, I'm going to upload my background that I created using Google Drawings. And here we go. Select. So here is the file I'm going to use. I'm going to click on the check, the green check. So here it is. You'll see that I created this in Draw, and I added the background so the kids can't move it around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple voice pieces to this so the kids will be able to hear me reading the words. Tundra. Tundra. Sounds good. Tundra. Okay, so put that here, and I'm going to make sure to lock it. So I'm going to do that with the others now. Awesome. So now I have it so each one of them is read to the students if they wanted to. So now what I need to do is I need to add my animals over here that they're going to drag and drop. What I did was I already went onto a website and saved a bunch of images. So now I just have to import those images. So to upload the images, what I'm going to do is pick on the camera and I'm going to do upload. From here, I just need to find the file that has them, and I put them all in one folder so I can find them. Oops. I can do more than one. So you'll see here I have my Arctic fox. Upload. And now I'm going to do my camel, caribou, cheetah, polar bear, lizard, elephant, deer, raccoon, scorpion, skunk. And to skip around and highlight, I'm holding the control key while I'm clicking. Oh, they're all my friends. So now all I need to do is I need to make them smaller, one at a time. And when I'm done, when I'm done making them smaller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to voice record. Scorpion. So the kids will be able to go on there and read what or hear what it is. Zebra. Now, it might seem excessive, and the kids should probably know what these things are, but I'm not assessing their reading skills at this point. So it's not, that's why I'm just doing it this way. If I was assessing their reading skills, then I would take it and make it so I would put the words on it, and then they would have to read it. So I'm going to continue doing this while you guys are unfortunately having to wait. Sorry. Okay, what I did was I made sure they all fit into the areas where they're going to go. Now, I noticed when I pull them over here, it's kind of dark. So what I'm going to do is, and I'll do is I'll move this over, and I'll move the animals to the side over here. On this side, what else can I do, right? So here we go. I'm going to move Lancey over here. The only thing I need to worry about is that some of these animals might overlap, but that's okay because the kids can just pull them out one at a time. That's fine. There. I'm going to move this up a little bit so it fits. Notice how my words also locked a little. What's this up here? Oh, huh. All right. So I'm figuring it out as I go here, which is fine too. So now I have all of these animals over here. The only other thing I thought of that people might want to do is you can lock the size of it. So that way the kids can't make it any bigger. But I'm not really worried about that right now. So it looks like I'm good. Now I just have to go back and input my directions. So I'm going to click on this green arrow here, and I'm going to go back and look at my directions. So remember when you're doing the directions, I just want to bring this over and show everyone really quick. There are these Seesaw icon shortcuts that you can use. So when I'm making my directions, I'm going to want to make sure to use these so the students know exactly what to do. All right. So in my directions, we have the kids do this. There we go. Drag and drop the animals with the move button. Put them in the biome where they live. All right, so now I'm going to read that over. Okay. So now I'm going to read that over. Drag and drop the animals with the move button. Put them in the biome where they live. All right, and now I can then add skills if I wanted. Go in, there's the skills. I can do that. I'm not going to add them right now, but that's how you add skills. And then I'm going to hit save. So here it is. This is what it looks like. You can see. I can click on it, practice. Elephant, right? All right, it looks good. I'm going to assign it to my kiddos. And yep. And there we go. It should be there. There it is. So now I can add a response using sample student. Let's see how I did. So I'm on the move button, right? I have my move. I can click. Tundra. Grasslands. Oh, I never moved my scorpion. Scorpion. Desert. Forest. And you'll see also, unlock to move, I didn't lock the background again. So the kids could go in and like change it all around if they wanted. So again, this is like learning, right? So I always do this first. I tried it out with my sample student. I move these guys over here, my camels over here in the desert, but I know I have to fix those. So again, I can go back in, I can fix them. I only assign it to the sample student, and that's fine. So I'll just do it again. My library, it's already there in my library. I'm going to click these three dots to edit it. Template. From my template, I'll click, undo. I got my move. So I click on it. See, I don't want that. All right, so now to lock this bad boy, where am I? I'm going to right click and lock it. There we go. Let's see. I'm going to move my scorpion back over there. So now it looks good. I fixed it. I edited it. Now I can assign it again. I saved it. So it's always going to be a learning curve, and that's fine. And you can have a laugh about it with the kids. They'll laugh and they have a good time with it too. It makes you a little more human. So that's how you create a drag and drop activity in Seesaw. Let me know if you have any questions.